super friends, and welcome to DC TV Talk. And in today's video we're going to be breaking down the news that John Barrowman, who is playing Malcolm Merlyn in the Arrowverse, is going to be returning in Arrow Season 7. So let's discuss. So this news broke the other day where at an Australian Comic-Con, the actor who plays Malcolm Merlyn, of course John Barrowman, who you may also know from things like Torchwood and Doctor Who, he actually stated to a fan that he would be returning as Malcolm Merlyn in Season 7 of Arrow. Now, obviously this is quite a big thing. Malcolm Merlyn is a huge character in the history of Arrow. He's obviously appeared in Legends of Tomorrow as well. He's pretty, this is a pretty big deal that this character is coming back. Now, the last time we saw Malcolm Merlyn was in the Season 5 finale, when he of course sacrificed his own life to save Thea's. This was a great ending moment for his character. This was a really good way to close off his character arc. I felt like it was an appropriate place for him to leave the show. As much as I love Malcolm Merlyn and John Barrowman, I was pretty happy with his conclusion to the show. I was quite happy the fact that he sacrificed himself for his daughter. I thought that was good, and it was a good place for him to exit the show. But I think all of us have kind of been waiting for him to come back, because let's be honest, Malcolm has died before. He died in Season 1. It's, it's not the first time he's come back to life, so I'm guessing that obviously him coming back in Season 7 could be some form of resurrection. Now, could it be a resurrection or could it be something else? Well, in terms of the resurrection, obviously, like I say, this has happened before. Malcolm Merlyn, he has connections. The League of Assassins, they have connections. And obviously, the League of Assassins aren't actually a thing anymore due to, obviously, them being disbanded by Nyssa. I feel like there are still those little factions. Obviously, we had the Thanatos Guild last year who were literally serving Malcolm Merlyn. They were literally, doing it in tribute of Malcolm Merlyn. That's what they were doing. That's what the Thanatos Guild was. And obviously they were looking at all these Lazarus pits that were still around the world. I think it's very viable that, the leader of the Thanatos Guild, I think her name was Alina, something like that. I can't quite remember, but I wouldn't be surprised if that particular character went to Lian Yu, found Malcolm's body, and put him in the Lazarus pit and brought him back to life. I would not be surprised by that one bit. It's happened before, and like I say, with this particular brand of the League of Assassins being so dedicated to Malcolm Merlyn, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that they would do that. What is a lot more likely, however, is that this would actually be only one episode or one scene where it would be a flashback which featuring John Barrowman as Malcolm Merlyn. Obviously, we've had Malcolm Merlyn in the flashbacks before. He was in a flashback in Season 5. He was also in the flashbacks. We've had Malcolm flashbacks and things, stuff with Tommy and, pre-Island Oliver, stuff like that. So, again, there's history here with Malcolm being part of the flashbacks, and what I've seen people talk about is that maybe this could be that Malcolm Merlyn actually has connection to whoever this new Green Arrow is. So whoever's under the mask of the new Green Arrow, perhaps they were trained by Malcolm Merlyn, or they know Malcolm Merlyn, or he knows them, or whatever. There's some kind of connection between the new Green Arrow and Malcolm Merlyn, and when it's finally revealed who the new Green Arrow is, we'll see a flashback showing, how they trained, how they gained the skills to become a very similar fighter like Oliver, and Malcolm Merlyn will be involved in that. And I feel like that would be a really cool idea. That'd be a cool twist, and I would like to see that. Especially because, okay, it'd be a cool way to bring back Malcolm Merlyn without necessarily bringing him back from the dead, because I hate it when Arrow does that. They just do it all the time, and it's so annoying, like they did it with Sarah, and they've basically done it with Laurel, so it's kind of annoying. But I really hope that they do leave Malcolm dead. Again, as much as I love him, I think it's a lot better and a lot smarter if they bring him back in a flashback. Another possible thing is that we could see him in the future timeline. Obviously, big thing in Arrow at the moment is the flash forward, stuff with Roy and future William. What would be cool is maybe if we've seen a future version of Malcolm Merlyn. Now, obviously, again, kind of the only thing with that is, obviously, as far as we know, Malcolm Merlyn is dead. So if he shows up in the flash forwards, it's like we know he's going to show up in the main storyline at some point because he's just going to be there. And, he's going to have to show up and get revived at some point. So again, this kind of has the same problem. But, it'd definitely be interesting to see like an older Malcolm Merlyn, see what he's up to in his older age. Especially because Malcolm Merlyn is kind of in his like late 40s, early 50s at this point, or was. So, it'd be interesting to see what he's doing in his old age and how he's sort of operating, what he might be doing, what he's doing with his life. And I think that'd be quite fun and interesting idea to explore, but again, we would have to explain how he's actually alive. We could also see an alternate Earth Malcolm. Obviously, we are still waiting on that Earth 2 Black Siren backstory, which we are still, we get solely teased about it every now and then, but we still haven't seen it. And it's something that I think us fans are really desperate to see, is just this backstory of Earth 2 Laurel. So, you know, in that way we could have Earth 2 Laurel connected to Earth 2 Tommy, who is obviously then connected to Earth 2 Malcolm. So if we do get a singular flashback episode for Black Siren, which I really hope that we do, we could see an Earth 2 Malcolm Merlyn, which I think would be a really awesome opportunity. I love the multiverse, I love exploring that, seeing alternate versions of our characters, so it would be really fun if we could have John Barrowman come back as an Earth 2 Malcolm Merlyn, and obviously that version of Malcolm Merlyn could be completely different. You know, like, we know on Earth 2, Oliver Queen's dead, we know that Robert Queen is the Green Arrow. There's just so many cool alternative versions of characters they could explore on Earth 2, and I think Malcolm Merlyn would be a definitely very interesting one to explore. If I had to put my finger on it though, I would probably say that Malcolm Merlyn is coming back in a flashback at some point. I just don't see why they would bring him back from the dead. Even though they've done it before, I feel like they had an idea of why they were doing it. Because again, in Season 2, they wanted to do the thing with him and Thea. In Season 3, he was a big part of that story. So I feel like they actually wanted to bring Malcolm back to actually help with the story. And then in Season 5, he kind of ran his course and that's why he was gone. So to bring him back in a flashback, especially if it's connected to the new Green Arrow, would be a smart and organic way to do it. Instead of just bringing him out of the blue somewhere. It'd be a lot smarter, especially because Malcolm obviously had his fingers in a lot of pies. I wouldn't be surprised if this new Green Arrow turns out to be Emiko Queen, like a lot of us think it is going to be, and say if it's the daughter of Robert Queen and Isabel Rochev, I feel like Malcolm Merlyn is going to be connected to that in some way. And, you know, say if this character goes to Malcolm and is like, hey, look, you know, I found out that my long-lost half-brother is actually the Green Arrow, he's now in prison, I want to take up that mantle, and I feel like, you know, Malcolm Merlyn, he could have found out about Emiko Queen much earlier on, and started training her, and I feel like, again, that's a way of doing it. Maybe it could connect back to the League of Assassins. I just feel like there's so many things they could do in a flashback perspective with Malcolm Merlyn than it would be just to bring him back from the dead. I think it'd be a lot more interesting, and again, organic to do it as a flashback. But what do you guys think about Malcolm Merlyn returning? Make sure you let me know all your thoughts about it. Are you excited to see him return, or do you think they should just leave his character in the past altogether? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. So, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like. It'll help me out a lot. And share this video with anyone and everyone you know who loves DC TV and get them to join the community. And as always, guys, please subscribe for all of your latest content on Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Arrow. And with all that said, guys, I hope to see you again in my next video.